everyone. So this is going to be part 2 of my winter update build series for my car. In the last video, obviously we put the Wise Fab on this. I put one over fender on, and probably won't touch base on the over fenders again until I get the other one on and get everything painted. Also get the rears in here. We'll get all that stuff painted at one time. Regardless, I did order some bolt-on wheel spacers for the front today. We'll wait till I get my rears in here, check what my fitment needs before I order rear spacers or wider wheels. Regardless, got a package in the mail that is my biggest task yet. You know, the engine swap wasn't bad. Really, any of the stuff I've done to the car so far hasn't been bad, hasn't, you know, made me nervous or anything. I don't know why this makes me nervous, but it does. I gotta get the car moved over in the other part of the garage, and we'll take it off the lift so I can get to it. And I'm gonna start stripping the interior out because my Cagekits cage is here. So this looks incredible from what I've seen already. Obviously hasn't been unboxed yet. Don't know how it's going to get put in the car yet. I'm obviously not the best welder. Should have done a little bit better at, you know, taking welding classes and stuff in school, but I didn't. Either way, got a couple friends that said they would help if nothing else. But either way, I'm going to get the car moved. This weekend's tasks are to get it completely stripped inside. I do have a full containment seat coming because I still have my stock passenger seat. Well, not my stock seat. This car had gray interior, but I do have an NRG in the driver's seat. That is going to come over here. And I really figure this seat will be impossible to fit, especially as tight as this is. This seat will be impossible to put in the car or take out of the car once the cage is in, because you have to slide all the way back to get the front bolts out and all the way forward to get the back bolts out. And it would be just about impossible. Plans for in here are that seat is coming over here, and I have a Prisma full containment seat on the way. The harness bar is coming out, the back seat is coming out, and I'm going to seal off all the any holes, anything in the floor while I have the carpet out. I'm going to take all the vents and everything out, because when I swapped this car to black interior, it still had 2.5 in it, AC still worked, so dash is coming out. The car's going to get completely stripped except for the headliner, which I just recently put back in and actually dyed black. I'm going to try to see if all the cage stuff will fit with the headliner still in the car, just for the looks. But all the back seat stuff will not go back in it. I'm going to finish all of where the back seat was up to the package tray. I'm going to finish all of this with nice new black carpet if I don't do the whole car with nice new carpet. Might even put some sound deadener in it. People have asked me why I'm thinking about putting some sound deadener in it, because still a street car. Still has glass in it. Still going to always have glass in it, because why not? I really don't care about weight. It would be nice to get the car under 3,000. I'm anxious to see what it weighs, because right now the car actually weighs the exact same as it did when it was bone stock. With me in it, it's 3,175 or 45 pounds. I think it's 3,175 with me in it. A little heavy girl, but, you know, for a steel block V8 with full interior, full complete car still, it's going to have some weight to it. Now, granted, I am, you know, taking a lot of the sheet metal off the car by doing the overs. Eventually, I'd like to put an aluminum block engine in it, and I'm pulling a lot of the interior out of it. But I think I'm still going to run the rear door panels, as much of the front half of the full interior as I can, just for the look. And I'm going to fabricate something with the front door panels for the cage, but I know the cage itself will add some weight. But really, it's not as heavy as I expected, because the whole pallet and everything shipped to me was 200 pounds. So the cage really may not be too bad. Plus, there's a couple of the bars that they did in the CAD drawing that are really kind of too much for the level that this car is going to be. Like, it is a full FD spec cage that they did some custom work on for me. It's not just one of the Cagekits pre-selected cages. They custom made me some door mounts or door bars. They changed the actual top halo around a little bit, because with this car still being full interior with windows, I don't want to cut my door guts out. So I'm not doing NASCAR bars out into the doors. So they made like a custom X bar, which braces up really good, has all the anti-intrusion stuff. So all that stuff is going to stay. But they did like an extra pillar reinforcement down, by the A pillar. Probably won't put that in. Don't know that I'll run the full X in the halo by the sunroof because there is still a sunroof in the car. So some of the stuff, I probably won't use their dash bar. And an E46, there's actually perfect room, if this lines up like I'm expecting and hoping, that the dash bar that holds the factory dash in has little slats that look like it would be perfect for a cage to go through. So I'm hoping these set in that, and I can literally weld to the factory metal dash bar. Or even fabricate, if I have to fabricate some of the bar off, to make it all connect together. That's what my initial plan is to do, so I can still keep the factory dash and everything in the car. Either way, I'm gonna get everything moved and get started on putting this thing in. It's about 28 degrees right now, I think. There's no heat in the garage. I forgot my big jacket at work, so I'm freezing right now. But let's see how some of this stuff cold starts. First up on the list, we're going to see how a 7.3 cold starts, shall we? The infamous wait to start. I usually cycle the glow plugs a time or two if it hasn't been plugged up. Kick it out of gear. Oh yeah! You wouldn't even know it's cold. Now, let's see how well a carburetor likes high 20s. Because I know I definitely don't like it. So now that everything's moved, tomorrow I'm going to start getting the interior out of it. I'm going to get up early in the morning, turn what heat I do have on, and let it warm up a little bit in here in the morning, and probably about heat of the day, a few hours tomorrow, I'm going to come out here and work. And this place is nice, but it's very cold. There's no insulation in here, and I've had people, well, just insulate it. And well, it is very large and very expensive to do. So regardless, we'll come out here tomorrow, start getting the interior out of it, get my cage unboxed, see what all's there. That'll probably be what I do first, kind of mock everything up, just see what I got. And then we'll get the seats out of it, get all the interior out of it. And that's what my weekend plan is. We were supposed to get a huge snowstorm, but now it's looking like just a bunch of rain. So nothing else to do this weekend. So time to knock this thing out. So it is the first week of January now. There's actually an event at SMP 1st of February that I'm kind of debating on going to. So if the cage is in, the car is done. I mean, besides the cage, the car is really ready for the season, except all the overs, and those aren't a necessity. So as long as the cage is in, everything looks good. We might try and run in February. If nothing else, I mean, the car will be ready for Club Loose in April. That's usually our debut event of the year, is Winter Bash at Midvale. Regardless, I'm glad that the car's farther along now than it ever has been with WiseFab 1 transmission in. Already driven it. It's amazing. So like I said, I'll get up tomorrow, film some more. We'll get the interior out of it, and I'll film this start to finish with the cage, getting it painted and everything. And yeah, not really on a time crunch right now, so I'm just enjoying taking my time for once. But the time crunch is going to start because the dirt car is getting ready to come back on the scene too. That thing hasn't really made many appearances on the channel yet, but I had that on my other channel. It's too hard to do things with 2 channels, so the late model is getting a big giant virtual crew sticker right on the front of it this season, and it's going to start making appearances on this page as well. So there'll be plenty of content coming from all of us this year between my dirt car and the BMW and Justin's new car. I know he's working on some videos with it, and we're going to start getting some footage from Skylar as well. So I'm really anxious to see what this year has in store so far, and let's get it going already. All right, it is time to get started on getting all the interior out of the car. Hopefully the sound of my heater isn't too bad. It's not worth turning it off. It took a little bit longer to get started today than what I'd originally anticipated. I ended up going to a buddy of mine's indoor RC rock crawler course, and well, needless to say, I lost track of time. But I'm not in too big of a hurry, but now in the garage, and time to start getting the interior out. We'll go ahead and get the cage unboxed just to see what all is there, and see what I got to work with, and then I'll work on getting all the interior out. So I got the main part of the cage right here behind me, just kind of propped up to see where it goes. I got a lot to learn. I found that out. None of this is labeled. There's no roll cage for dummies when it comes to all this. So I've got the pictures from the CAD drawing from what they've made. So really the only way to do this is to get it all put in the car and just start piecing it together and label what I figure out from there with what looks right. So now I'm going to start getting the interior out of the car and then get it all test fitted. All right, well, this looks like an absolute mess, but the dash is out. I left all the wiring for the switches and everything. A lot of this spaghetti-looking mess is factory BMW wiring. All of this is factory BMW stuff, and it goes everywhere. There's so much factory BMW wiring. We're not going to look at all that, but I mean, there is so much factory BMW wiring. It is insane. Some of the stuff I'd like to try to get rid of, but that's all for another day. The plan right now is to keep the factory dash bar so that I can put the dash back on it. But I am going to try to get rid of a lot of this stuff. The back seat's not going back in it, so I'm going to fill up all those holes and stuff back there. Clean up some of the wiring that I can. Whenever I ran all my wiring for the switches, it all runs together nice and neat down under the floor and up the rocker. So there's only so much I can do with it though. Regardless, I'm going to take a bunch of this junk out up in here, more than likely. Just stuff that needs to come out, stuff that's not needed. Of course, in typical not so good vlogger fashion, right as I was pulling the dash out, literally pulling on the dash, I heard my camera beep. And needless to say, right when we got to the interesting part, the camera died. So I'm going to put part of the cage in it, mock it up, and try and mark everything, because this cage came with no markings, no instructions. I mean, it is pre-notched, pre-cut, all that, but you still got to kind of figure out this puzzle. And like I said, I'm going to go off the CAD drawing and hope for the best. Might message Cagekits and see if they have any kind of, instruction booklet, but I kind of doubt it. So it's more or less just figure it out. Once I get it in the car, though, I'm sure everything will look better and look in place, and I can get the rocker bars and stuff in, but I'm excited. All right, guys, a little bit of a cage update. I just realized I've been out here working and failed to vlog because I suck. Kind of tough to see. Let's see if I can turn the flash on. The base plates are mocked up for the cage. One goes there, one goes back here. Got the new Prisma full containment seat test fitted. I gotta make brackets for it, and have my last year's driver's seat now fitted just needs bolted down in the passenger seat. So I wanted to test fit those, make sure everything looked good. I'll tell you what, that full containment is a big seat. But either way, they match, they're sick. And cage is gonna get primed tomorrow, and we're gonna start putting it in this week. Little bit of an update. Few days has passed since I've last filmed. Haven't been trying to do too much time lapse because I'm sure that probably gets old, listening to music and just watch me run around at like a million miles an hour. But am still working on the cage. I've been working on the dirt car as well. That's for a later video. But either way, I now have both seats in the car completely. They're fastened in, they're done. They turned out awesome. I gotta put the pads back in this one, put the full containment's in, clears everywhere, lines up perfectly. And last year's NRG that was my driver's seat is now my passenger seat. So both seats are in, secured, had to make my own seat brackets, no big deal. And I'm pretty stoked. So next step is I'm gonna get the cage all back out. We'll tack the base plates in, clean some stuff up. I got my item sheet as to what all goes where with the cage, and we'll put all this in the floor, see what goes where, and then start putting it in the car and possibly tack it together. Cage update though. So I finally went through, put all of the paperwork to part numbers to see what all I've got, see what all we got to work with. And now I've got my base plates just tacked in and working on seeing how things fit. And I noticed I was going to try and put the cage in it with the headliner still in the car. No way it's going to happen. Headliner's got to come out because this cage fits so tight that it just won't fit with the headliner. It's wedged in there right now, hitting everything. So going to yank the headliner back out real quick, and then get the main hoop tacked in. Still learning as I go, but now that I've got everything in the floor put together to where I can see where things go, it makes a lot more sense starting to learn where the base plates and stuff go, because there's no like this goes here instruction with this. There was a sheet that shows you what part numbers go where, and it says, like, for example, part number XX whatever is the main hoop, driver's down bar, intrusion bar, things like that. That helped a lot once I took it, and being around race cars long enough, I know kind of what's what. So I was like, okay, well, that's an intrusion bar, that's diagonal bar. It makes much more sense now. So I'm just figuring I might as well tack this thing in, ratchet strap it together. The seats will come back out soon. I've just got them in there right now to make sure the door bars will clear, and I'm going to do some massaging on the factory dash bar. Thought about going like with a carbon fiber dash or something, but this thing's still a street car. I want to keep street car capability. Some people that just cobble the wiring together and gauges together and don't run a dash or anything, I'm not going to do all that. So it takes a little bit of customizing to still, I think using the factory dash bar is my best way since everything still bolts in. And then I can just cut the dash around the pillar bars and we'll be good. A few weeks have passed since I've last vlogged. I'm very salty to see that I think I need a new camera. I have filmed as much as I could with doing the cage, with doing the over fenders. It was going to be a great update. Went through to start editing, and my SD card completely decided to crap and wipe itself. So a little bit salty. Regardless, pretty good little update for you guys. I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing me talk, but pretty good update. It's cut up, it's murdered. I've cut everything for the over fenders. I need to cut a little bit more back here. I got a spacer coming for back here. Here are the fenders. We'll be painting them hopefully tomorrow. I had essentially vlogged with the GoPro and time-lapsed cutting the car up, time-lapsed some updates with the cage, and like I said, my SD card decided to crap out, so I lost all that footage. Either way, like I said, overs have been test fitted. I'll drop a picture of that, and the cage is in the car. So my buddy Elliot came down and helped me final weld everything. He is an incredible welder, and he helped me knock this thing out. There was a lot of welding. It's taken a lot of time. This is a wire that'll come out, but regardless, it looks sick. It's in. It's freaking awesome. Today's intentions are to prep what I can of the cage, start getting it painted. It is still cold, but I'm gonna put a heater in the car, get it warmed up, get the cage warmed up, get it cleaned, get it sand or scuffed and primed and painted. I've got another SD card for the camera. If I can get all of it to work, I will time-lapse doing that. Regardless, like I said, I'm still very salty about losing that card. But I am very happy with how this has all turned out. I still have to cut the dash and get the seats put back in it, but I'm on a little bit of a time crunch with both cars. It is Sunday, about middle of February, and we have an event for West Virginia Motorsports Day that the BMW and the late model both have to be at. And well, needless to say, I still have a lot of work to do to the BMW, and the late model is obviously a holder for my over fenders at the moment. So we still have to get the engine put in this. If it gets done, get this all put back together. I did get the sticker swapped around the front. Told everyone there was going to be a virtual sticker on the front. Wish I had done it a little bit bigger now, but either way, it still looks cool. If I redo it again, I'll make the virtual sticker bigger. Updated a few things with this. Like I said, not many people have seen this thing yet, but it's going to be making some more appearances on the channel. It is really just essentially putting the engine back in it, firing it, sticking the body back on it. It's honestly good to go. A full day's work, that thing could be ready. This, I gotta get the cage finished up, get the seats in it, get the interior back in it, try and make some front door panels. It's not gonna be 100% done. I'm not gonna have anything with the back finished. I gotta try to get my over fenders painted, my livery made and put on, and I'm trying to think of what else I need to do at this point. It's all running together. We spent the last 2 days out here. I've been working on the fenders, getting them done, and I've been working on the cage, getting it finished, and my dad has been down helping with the engine for the race car. So it's been a lot. It's going to be a tight deadline to get everything finished up. I know we're both exhausted, but it's going to be worth it. The next week, the Tuesday after this W Motorsports Day, I've got to take the BMW to some potential sponsor deal. Then the Saturday after that, there is a chance that I'm going to SMP Drift with this thing at the 1st of March. So I didn't make the February event. I wasn't trying to rush to get to it, and so I just didn't make it. But I'm going to try my best to make it to the Saturday version of SMP. Club Loose did release their schedule, so 1st of April, like normal. I know we'll make that no problem. The goal is to have this car completely done within the next 4 days. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to try to get my camera to work so I can film a little bit more. I don't want to drag this video out too much longer. There will be a new video come out with the late model. I had planned on kind of keeping it behind the scenes until we went to our first race, but the idea that I have for this next video, it'd be too good not to post it. So. So a little insight as to what I'm doing. Obviously, I taped up the windshield to keep from getting paint on it. But I'm mainly taping up just my door jambs because I was originally going to paint this cage silver. That is actually the same silver as my engine bay, Exhibit A. But the more I looked into it, the more I thought about it. With my little bit of time crunch that I have, and you know, people getting in and out of the car, I'm sure it'll scratch the cage, things like that. I'm just going to paint it black. It's easier, and I'm eventually going to paint the whole inside of the car black, but like the door jambs and stuff, obviously I don't want black right now, so I'm taping up the door jambs. I'm not going to tape up where the back seat was. I probably won't even tape up where the sunroof's at, because all of that is going to get painted black, or it is going to get a material put over it, such as like headliner material or carpet. So I can be a little bit lazy, and if overspray gets on it, so be it. But you know, things like the door jambs, obviously the windshield, things like that, yeah, I'm taping that stuff up. But the places where I can kind of be lazy and let a little bit of overspray go into it, I'm going to, because it doesn't matter, because it's going to get covered up anyway. Plus, this car is such a dark blue that it looks black. Everyone thinks this car is black, and if you're watching this and you thought this car is black, it's actually blue. It's very hard to see, especially now since the car is dirty, but if you're not familiar with BMW colors, this car is actually Orient Blue Metallic is what it's called, and I actually have the roof wrapped black. A lot of people didn't know that, and you can see the difference in it here, but like there's pictures of the car, you know, out on track and stuff, and nobody has an idea. There's actually my numbers in the roof of the car. This is the blue, and it's been cut out of the black, and it's very hard to see. It was kind of the idea was just kind of make it look like a ghost type deal. Also, I don't know why my camera isn't focusing very well. I don't know if it's a scratch on the little screen protector I got for the camera or what. It's very aggravating, and I apologize in advance. Well, as you can see, I had a technical difficulty with my trim black here, so looks like it's going to be the VHT roll bar paint, because this is the only can of trim black. My uncle actually gave this to me. It was brand new, and it's broke. So we're going to trim black it because, well, actually, we're going to use the roll bar black because the trim black is big broke. All right, pretty well painted and done. It looks all right, you know, for as best as a rattle can job can do while being in the car. So with a flashlight. Plus, you know, that VHT stuff, in my opinion, is not the best in the world compared to what I was going to use, and I'm sure I'll probably find a couple spots I've missed once it's done, but it looks sick. I'm happy with it. I'm stuck in the car right now because all this piping that I just painted in the back of the car is still wet. So, and I'm gonna have to crawl out of here on my hands and knees. So I'm trying to let it tack up a little bit so I don't run it down my shirt and have to repaint it. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. If I can get this camera to focus, but I'm happy with it. And yeah, next step is I'll paint all this up in here black in time. Like I said, I might even try and put some sort of material in it at some point in time, but for now, it'll be okay. All in all, let's hope when I untape my windshield, it's not black, but I'm pretty happy with it. Once all this dries, next step is getting the dashboard cut, getting it fitted, then start putting the seats and carpet and stuff back in it. Alrighty, cage is in, painted, looks pretty good. Got the dash trimmed where it needs to be. Not all the prettiest in the world, it actually broke right there. I'm gonna glue it back in places it needs to be, cover some stuff up. Biggest thing I still gotta figure out when we'll do door panels, but Dash is in and complete. Carpet is in, front half anyway. Getting ready to set the seats in it, and I figure I will use a little bit of YouTube magic and snap my fingers, and the next time you guys see this, the seats will be in. I figured I'd made you guys watch enough time lapse, and you're probably tired of hearing me talking and just want to see some results, so the next clip, seats will be in, and we'll go over one more review. And just like that, seats are in. So a couple more things I'll finish up tomorrow, but it's like day 3 of working on the cage and the interior. It's 10:30 and I'm tired, but regardless, it's in. It looks sick. The seats are in and looks sick. Let's do a little test fit, shall we? And just like that, we're in. So some future plans, I think I'm going to figure out which of these wires went to just the main dome light. Rewire them, put me like an LED strip here so the actual dome light still works. Instead of just zip tying the factory one up, I might, put like an LED strip or something up. Either way, this is sick. It feels like a total different car inside. I've got great headroom clearance for my helmet. I mean, I haven't tried my helmet on yet, but I know I've got great clearance sitting in it. It's comfortable. Placement for the shifter and everything feels good. So I'm happy. I'm stoked. I'm anxious to drive it, and I'm anxious to see if the car actually drives any different with the cage. In theory, it should be stiffer and everything, but either way, I'm going to end this video here because I'm sure you all are tired of hearing me talk, but I'll do a quick collab of the final product, quote unquote, with it all together. In the next video, possibly, I'll be getting it outside, getting it cleaned up. Even if I don't put necessarily all of that in the next video, I will be working on putting the over fenders on for the final time. I plan to video that and hopefully plan to show putting the engine in the late model and possibly starting it. Maybe. Regardless, I feel this is a good ending point. I appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see you in the next one.